Our Kevin Frey is standing by in Washington, D.C. We may hear from the president himself a little bit later, but the president's spokesperson did weigh in on this a little bit earlier, I understand. Kevin.
Yeah, Errol, as you mentioned, we might hear from the president a little later. He has teased that he will take questions or at least comment on the Cuomo situation after his press conference later on today in the next few hours. That's more about vaccines and the ongoing pandemic. As you mentioned, his spokesperson, Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary, did make some remarks, though didn't say a whole lot, about the Cuomo, the report that was released. Here's a little of what she said. Take a listen.
The White House's message, the president's message, the vice president's message, my message is all women who have lived through sexual this type of experience, whether it is harassment or abuse or in the worst case assault, deserve to have their voices heard, deserve to be treated with respect and with dignity. I don't know that anyone could have watched this morning and not found the allegations to be abhorrent. I know I certainly did. And again, the president will speak to this later this afternoon.
So there, the word abhorrent being used to describe the allegations within the report. Of course, it's worth noting, as we've talked about previously, that President Biden was asked about the investigations into Cuomo several months ago, back in March, by ABC. And at that time, he was asked, do you think he should resign if the allegations are held up in the investigation? He said yes. So we'll see if he follows through on that commitment later on today when he is ultimately pushed by the press, if he doesn't come out and say something about this outright, about the Cuomo investigation. At the same time, of course, lawmakers here on Capitol Hill releasing statements. As we covered a couple hours ago, there were three lawmakers who previously, three Democratic lawmakers within the delegation that previously, let's just say, were not outright saying he needs to resign, more or less putting a lot of credence into the investigation, the need to let things play out. That was Gregory Meeks, Hakeem Jeffries, and Tom Suozzi. Well, they, as a group, came out earlier today calling on Cuomo to resign, saying that the time has come for Cuomo to do the right thing for the people of New York State. And then just within the last hour, we got a statement from a whole group of about 12, a dozen lawmakers from within the New York delegation. Again, all Democrats, once again reiterating calls they've already made months ago for Cuomo to resign or, and this is important to stress, if he does not, the New York State Assembly must begin impeachment proceedings. That is something that Congressman Mondaire Jones touched on when I spoke to him just a little bit ago here. Take a listen to what he said.
There are victims who have shown tremendous courage in accusing the most powerful person in New York State politics of wrongdoing, and they have been vindicated through an independent investigation by the New York State Attorney General's office. I am so hopeful that the New York State legislature will do its job and allow us to have new leadership in the state of New York so that we can do the important work of the people.
And so I basically asked him in response to that, I mean, you seem to be suggesting to me that you don't expect him to resign, to which he basically said, did you see the statement that Cuomo released in response to the report? So to reiterate at this point, the whole delegation of Democrats, from the most progressive to the more moderate Democrats from the state of New York, here in Capitol Hill, calling for Cuomo to resign. What will Biden say? That's coming up in a few hours. Errol?